let's get this thing started. Welcome, everybody. I should bring the chat up right away. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. That's right, I'm reading the Declaration of Independence. Here we go. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments and institutions among men deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Back up here. I'm trying to scroll through this as fast as I can. How do I manually scroll this? It should be easier. It's very strange. Do I move it with my finger? Hold on. Oh, there we go. I'll just do it this way. That our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient suffrage of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused to assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule in these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioner of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We have therefore acquiesced to the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That's the Declaration of Independence, the unanimous Declaration of Independence. And a lot of it, I got to say, rings true with what Trump has been attempting, and those around him have been supporting, especially when it comes to the charges against the king, namely seeing himself above the judiciary and forcing federal policy with troops quartered among the people, namely the Marines and the National Guard in this case, but the slippery slope is evident to everyone. And also eliminating the ability to do business with other countries. by making it all have to filter through him. There's, and whether or not these countries will do business with him, because that's really what's happening here. And that's ultimately what he and his family will be tried for in a fairer time that is in our future. That's what I would say. So, chat room, you guys are wonderful. Hello and welcome. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I am Hal Sparks, and I will be Hal Sparksing the rest of the night. And this is the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. Get used to it. Now, Trump came out with Melania onto the stoop today to do one of his Evita gatherings. And it's very interesting to me that he does these kind of like kingly things, adorning the White House with gold, really like making sure that there's, everything is adorned in gold like it's a palace, turning the White House into a palace. Now, it should be a place of dignity and honor. It should be an elegant and dignified place. But the idea that it should be a palace is absurd and an affront to the American way of life. And that's why it's extra embarrassing when he does these little talks out on the balcony like he's Evita. It's particularly embarrassing because it looks like the man of the people wants to just wave them to them from on high. This is a guy who watched like the leaders of South African and South American and Eastern European countries stand on these balconies and like Mussolini and others yell at crowds who adore them. And he wants this really bad. And yet, no matter what he does, it turns into a half-assed Easter egg hunt. So this is him standing out there with Melania number 3, I think.
President of the United States and First Lady Melania Trump.
Well, thank you very much. And that is some sight, especially after what happened just a week
the planes flew over. This was after the B-2s flew over.
ago. When you look at that big, beautiful plane, and the other ones were something. It was...
Yes, they were something. I'm pretty sure they were airplanes. But, I mean, it's debatable. They could have been a projection on the clouds with Jewish base lasers. Yeah.
An incredible mission. And I think I can say very proudly, and I don't have to quote the polls, that our country is more proud right now than it's been in many, many years. We have pride, we have dignity, we have something that's...
something to pride and dignity, and something else that's like pride and dignity. Something this man knows nothing about.
Happened miraculously so fast. You know that our military now is the most sought-after job there's ever been, serving in our military. 1 year ago...
No, that's not the number one job in the country. What they mean is they're meeting their goals. Also, the goals were lowered. But let's be honest. It's not surprising that MAGA was not joining during Biden or during Democrats, and now they are in a jingoistic sense.
People didn't want to join our military. They didn't want to join our police or...
Because they had other jobs available to them and rising pay.
Firefighters. They didn't want to join anything having to do with our country, and now...
Yeah, nobody wanted to be firefighters. All you cops and firefighters and National Guard people, you just stood down. You're fair weather patriots, according to him.
As you probably know, the enlistment is at an all-time record. We're packed. We're full.
So stop trying to join, I guess. Apparently, the recruitment numbers were highballed to begin with.
And I just think that's so important because...
it's so important that everyone stop trying to join the military or become firefighters because we're full.
That was so sad 1 year ago when I heard those statistics. We had a different president, but nobody wanted to join, and now we're at a record. And
we're like at 80 or 90% recruitment goals. And now we're like 112% or whatever, basically the flip-flop. The Reddies that didn't want to join when there was a Democrat in office are now happy to join. Right. Because allegedly, by the way, they seem to be very excited to join when they know we're not going to be in any foreign wars. I don't know what that means. Take that as, at face value.
I'll say that I just left NATO, where we had a tremendous experience. They've agreed
Yeah, it was so tremendous he had to leave early.
to put up over $1 trillion a year. They went from less than 2% to 5%, and nobody thought that was possible.
Well, that's because they didn't think it would be necessary to make up the shortfall of the United States, leaving them hanging in the face of Russian advancement. But then, of course, you got reelected, and everybody's like, "Oh, all right, well, yeah, okay." So we're fighting Putin on two fronts now.
And they told me very strongly, the leaders of a big part of the world, very respected people all,
Of a big part of the world, half the world, part of the world.
they told me that, 1 year ago, your country was dead.
Oh, this whole thing, like, apparently MBS and all the people at Live Golf said we were dead last year.
And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So that's the way it is, and that's the way we like it. And it's only going to get hotter.
God damn, this is old man rambles at crowd.
I promise you that. After
You can't.
that spectacular display,
Oh, somebody's asking for a nut warning. I thought we were far enough away. I beg your pardon. Yeah, my bad. It's a part of it. It's normally it's a wider shot. So, and there's a microphone there. So, hopefully, and he's wearing his Easter tie because he thinks she's wearing white. It must still be
of
Easter.
American power, let me just say that God bless the United States military and God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
God, it says right here, God bless. God is spelled. It's like a goblet, but the lady version. God bless. There's goblets and God blesses. It's like actor, actress, goblet, God bless. Says right here. I'm looking at it right here. They applaud that, you suckers.
And to all Americans,
I promise that I will never set foot in a church ever again. I don't have to promise that, and I don't keep my promises anyways.
I want to wish you a very happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. This is going to be something special. There's spirit in this country. We haven't seen anything like it in many, many years and decades. Let me also express our gratitude to our magnificent First Lady. She worked very hard to make this all work.
She doesn't have a staff to help her. She didn't, it was difficult, was it? I mean, she has access to the grounds. I don't think did she have to wait in line long at the permit office? She worked really hard, did she? Yeah, she looks sweaty and exhausted. Would she take time off of polishing the gold toilet?
We have a fireworks display about 9 o'clock tonight. I hope you're all
The likes of which no one's ever seen before.
going to be around and watch it. I know our congressmen and our senators who are standing right here, so many of them, they did such a great job. They're going to be
Little sparse. I mean, maybe it's supposed to be sort of a private gathering, but it's not packed. It looks like a lot of those Congress people bailed the fuck out after they, basically tucked their tail and voted for that stupid bill.
here.
They don't want to be near the signing when it happens. I was one of the two that didn't.
Guarantee you, they're not leaving.
No, they're leaving. They're not
They're
in there.
not leaving.
They're leaving. Look at the big gap in the floor. They left earlier. They left waiting for you to come out.
Thanks as well to the National Park Service, the USO, and countless friends and distinguished guests. We have so many people in the audience that
Yeah, especially right in this general area. Yeah. Huge turnout, buddy. Just spinning room only. You can just put your arms out and just spin in a circle.
have so much to do with the success of our country. We've, I think, had probably the most successful almost 6 months as a president and the presidency. I think they're saying it was the best 6 months, and I know for a fact they're saying the last 2 weeks there has never been anything like it as far as winning.
Well, you mean as far as lighting fuses and waiting for them to go off?
So as you know, 2 weeks ago, our incredible Air Force pilots conducted one of the most successful military strikes in all of history.
And the rocket's red glare bombed shit over there.
Operation Midnight hammer, and that's exactly what it was. It was a hammer.
It was a hammer, and it was dark, and it was like ba-ding, and obviously a hammer wouldn't destroy these facilities. You'd need something. Hammer wouldn't be. It's not the right tool for the job. Operation Sledgehammer.
This evening, we're honored to be joined by 150 airmen and their families from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, home of the B-2 bomber.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they all made it. I gotta say, I think a bunch of them flew over, and they're gonna miss this part of it. That's probably best. They should also eat before they show up. Otherwise, it's just gonna be junk food.
And we've kept them.
Thank you, CSL. You almost caught me like starting it.
A little bit on guard. We kept them a little bit. Let's be a little bit quiet about it. But if you want to raise your hand very quickly, raise your hand, because you people.
What? What do you think people are going to do? Bomb the yard of the White House to get the B-2 bombers because we don't have other pilots that can fly the things? Do you think these people do this in fucking secret? You know they wear sunglasses because it's very bright up there. That's why they call them aviators, because it's very sunny out there. So, above the clouds, as it were. It's not because they're incognito. Look, oh shit. Everybody put on your glasses. There's a Russian MiG. We don't want him to take a picture of our face.
Incredible. They don't want to be in disguise. They say, we don't have to do that.
No, they don't. Exactly. What the fuck are you talking about?
They're looking at us like we're a bunch of babies. We don't have to be in disguise. We saw all those hands go up. Thank you very much.
They're looking at us like we're a bunch. Who's we, you dumb son of a bitch? They're like, I don't have to hide my appearance because I'm a bomber pilot. Are you out of your mind? What do you think, we get targeted? You out of your fucking mind?
You, everything. Great job. Incredible. Just flawless. One of the most flawless military campaigns in the history of our country.
Well, no, because, they did their job very well, but you didn't give them all the targets or all the right targets. And you also gave Iran apparently a heads up, so they've still got enough material to make 9 to 15 bombs. They've got they've got the trigger systems. They've apparently got ICBM technology, or even just regular ballistic missiles that they could put them on, because if they just want to hit Israel or just our bases, they don't have to be intercontinental.
If you remember years ago, they had helicopters crashing into each other. It was a disaster, the hostages in Iran. And we had...
Yeah, just a few years ago in 1980, 1979.
Just the opposite. We
had just the opposite. Yes, the bombers are the opposite of helicopters. Yes, aerial assault opposite of ground troops. This asshole didn't even show up when our troops returned, when our 4 dead returned from Lithuania.
Have any crashes? We didn't lose any planes. We didn't lose...
Yeah, because Israel cleared the skies, because they got rid of all the anti-aircraft stuff. And because Russia's stuff is shit.
Those beautiful planes that you saw were totally stealth. They flew right over the center of a very hostile country, and they never even saw it coming. And then they said, skedaddle. They dropped the bombs.
Yeah, that's what they said. That was Operation Skedaddle. Yeah, it's Operation Exit Stage Left Even is a go. Skedaddle.
Said skedaddle. And that big sucker turned over like this on its side, and it...
No, it did not.
Got out of there.
No, it didn't. You nutcase. It did not, bank on a dime. A plane that big. Yeah, what? Jesus.
Well, I'll tell you what, how they...
Ah, boy, I tell you what's going on.
Do that, but they can do it. I asked our great General Kane, how do they do that?
Well, they have a little stick between their legs, unlike you.
Do they really love doing that? Look at them, they're all laughing.
Yeah, because they're like, you sound fucking ridiculous. Yes, they're laughing at you. That's what it. Congratulations on maybe one of the first times ever recognizing that people are laughing directly at you.
And they said, do they really like doing it, sir? They can't wait. Better you than me. That's all I can say.
Yes, better anyone than you.
It was a flawless mission. Every single bomb hit.
Like, Jesus Christ. This is a guy who panics during turbulence, was worried that he was going to die in Epstein's plane during the campaign, and rightly so. That's definitely going to end up on your tombstone.
And it was total obliteration. Total obliteration.
No, it wasn't.
Now, even the fake news is admitting that. They hate
No, they're not.
to admit it, but they had no choice.
No, they had plenty of choice. The Iranians have gotten out of, have kicked out the nuclear inspectors. They're not going to participate in it anymore because what little stuff they have left, they're going to reconstitute. It isn't obliterated.
That was an incredible...
Last thing I needed to watch. Thanks, Hal, for making me laugh. Absolutely, poo picker upper. It's what I'm here for. People seem to be under the impression that his bill is going to kind of work, and it ain't. And that maggots are somehow not going to feel it. And they are. And that he somehow, because these assholes fell in line and squeaked this bill through, that he has some sort of mandate that's real. And he does not. This is, I got to tell you, Trump University, Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, Trump Casinos, it's all going to come crashing down. The only question, honestly, is will he be alive when it happens? Because it's not going to be far out in the future.
And these heroic pilots showed our enemies what it means to fly, fight, and win. To every service member who supported that mission, and we have many of them here, we've made we've made you proud by supporting, but you've made us.
We've made you proud of us for being proud of you. Yeah, that's not what it says on the paper, dipshit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you have a terminal case of self-congratulation.
We've made you proud by supporting, but you've made us even prouder by having the courage to get in those gorgeous machines and fly through the roughest airspace anywhere in the world.
No, not the roughest airspace, especially since Israel basically claimed the airspace and they were completely safe going over. Still a dangerous mission. Still a lot can go wrong, but they weren't being fired on. Let me tell you a little story about the Donbass as a area where flying in any vehicle at all, even if you're Putin's right-hand man, can get you blown out of the sky.
And we salute you. And we honor you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Yikes.
And we're also honored and delighted to be joined by hundreds of service members and military families. Those families are the best we have.
Oh, they're great families. I like them. I mean, if my children married into one, I would disown them.
From all across the U.S. Armed Forces.
All of you.
Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force. I love the Space Force. You know why?
Is it because you got to rename a section of the Air Force?
Because we're the ones that did it. It's turned out to be a very invaluable force, actually. The Coast Guard and the Marines are incredible people. On behalf of our entire nation, this 4th of July, we thank you for keeping America safe, strong, sovereign, and free. Thank you very much for being here. Great honor. And stick around for the fireworks. Yeah,
it's you think this is exciting?
And our country's had so much to celebrate this Independence Day. As we enter our 249th year, America is winning, winning, winning like never before. We're not.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Yep. It's all going to go swimmingly. The tariffs, the dollar having its worst month since 1978.
I'll tell you, we're in a category now that's
in a world that's on fire. We're just smoking.
where we've wanted to be for a long time. We suffered with 4 horrible years.
Will you stop being such a bitch? Get on with it. You don't get any points shitting on the predecessor anymore. You're running things now. Stop being a whiny little bitch.
Of embarrassment. Afghanistan may be the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. We're never going to
it was a 21-year embarrassment, and Biden ended it.
let a thing like that happen again.
So we're just going to strafe bomb places from now on? Cool.
Trillions of dollars are pouring into the United States for investment purposes. Almost $15 trillion. There's never been anything like it. There's never been anything even close.
There's been a lot like it. I mean, post almost every war we've been through, during the 80s, mid-90s. I think the only time it started to dampen was during the Bush years. And then, of course, Obama brought a lot of stuff back.
The stock market.
He just never paid attention to it because he was always billions in debt to foreigners, so he doesn't understand when billions are coming into the country.
It's at an all-time high. Jobs are at an all-time high. Everything's at an all-time high.
Yeah, including Don Jr.
And we're going to keep it that way. We have the greatest country in the world, and we're back. We're back like nobody thought possible this quickly. I thought it would take maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3. And we did it in less than 6 months. We are back and strong.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, unless you talk about women's rights or, the freedom to move around and associate with whoever you want, if you look even remotely Hispanic.
We've restored American strength and deterrence.
And we set up a tent in the Everglades to keep reporters from pointing out that we're not actually catching anywhere near the number of immigrants we said were here.
On the world stage, we're respected again. The
because people have to kiss your ass, you think that's respect.
world is respecting us again. When we did NATO.
Yes, nothing says respect like, no, go home. We got this. Like NATO, the G7, everybody's like, look, you've been here. You made your visit. Yeah, no, don't worry yourself. We'll handle all the tough stuff. You've gone through it. Thank you. No, just showing up is enough. And leaving is even better. So there's a French word for this. Is shoe.
Those leaders came up to me and they said, you know what, we're going to go to a new level of spending because you're requesting it, sir. They didn't talk to you last president like that, I can tell you.
Yeah, that's because he didn't have a transactional relationship with the ultra-rich at the expense of everyday Americans.
They didn't spend any money.
They spent a lot of money. All the CHIPS and Science Act is what we're seeing happen in Arizona right now. He's stacking on top of it and extending the spending on that. He hasn't cut any of it. None of it has gone away. Infrastructure, same deal.
Anything.
He's actually spending more than Biden spent. So,
in a few moments, we're going to make official the greatest victory yet when I signed the one big, beautiful bill. And before I start, I want to tell you.
You already started.
That I've never seen people so happy in our country because of that.
No. Again, this is live in a bubble, talk like this.
Because so many different groups of people are being taken care of, the military, and civilians of all types, jobs of all types. We're adding.
How many different types of civilians are there? I'm curious.
Things like the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, child tax credits. So many things are being added that we wouldn't even have time to discuss them when we were doing.
You mean the things that Democrats added and you guys, they were so popular that you had to do them? That's why that's why they weren't able to cut anything. It's literally why they weren't able to cut anything. It's why it spends more money. It's because everything the Democrats added helps and benefits the workforce, benefits the citizenry.
And Mike Johnson right there. I see Mike. What a job they've done.
I'd say really nice things about him, but it sets off his porn app and his son's phone starts a bleeping and a blapping.
Job they've done.
Bing bong, bing bong, bing, dingly bong, ding ding.
But it was supposed to be in 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 different bills. And I was on one of the fake news shows and I said, let's do it in one beautiful, we want one big, beautiful bill. I said that to this newscaster.
You mean one that nobody read before they voted on it? The thing you say about Democrats all the time and that you passed in the middle of the night when you sent it to the Senate. That one?
And I think a lot of the congressmen and senators were watching, and they said, let's name the bill that.
Yeah, let's name it that.
Dum, 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 dum. Dum, dum, stupid. Dumb, silly, stupid, dumb, dumb.
Yeah.
One big, beautiful bill, and that's what we did. And what we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history.
Right. That's why I don't want to hear shit from Republicans ever again about the size of a bill. I don't want to hear that these things are huge and nobody has ever read them and they pass them in the middle of the night. And you're like, and?
We've never had anything like that before. Nothing like that they thought would be possible.
I think the ACA had like 3,000 pages. I know because I read it.
To get passed. And actually, I liked it because we had so much in there that no matter who you are, there was something in that bill
for everybody to hate
that would make your congressman or your senator or your congresswoman, much more importantly, raise their hand and support. Right, Lisa? So,
yeah, your congresswoman. Also, she's not a congresswoman. She's a senator. And it means Lisa Murkowski. They threw in special stuff for Alaska just to get her vote. She sold out the lower 48 for Alaska, which already, because of like the oil dividend that they pay Alaskans, they already get more.
That was something, and it was really something special. So the American people gave us a historic mandate in November.
No, they didn't, or you wouldn't have needed J.D. Vance to break a tie in the Senate, or you wouldn't have had a squeaker like this where if you lost 3 votes, you would have lost the vote. That's not a mandate.
We won everything. We won the swing states, all 7 swing states. We won every one. That rarely happens. We won the popular vote. We won the districts, 2,750 to 505.
Yeah, the districts, and again, a lot of the and he's talking about counties, not districts, but he does this all the time. The counties are largely empty. When you see this big sea of red, there's like 14 people in these places.
That's why when you look at a map, it's all red.
That's right. It's little blue where the people are.
Blue on each end.
And in Chicago and Wisconsin and Minneapolis and where all the humans gather.
But it's all red. And by the way,
in the areas where you have to drive a half an hour to see anybody else.
Red means Republican, just in case.
It also means commie, you bunch of...
But we made promises, and it's really promises made, promises kept, and we've kept them.
No, you actually have to implement this shit now.
This is a triumph.
And it has to work.
Triumph of democracy on the birthday of democracy, and I have to say that the people are happy. They're happy.
Are they? They are. They're happy because I'm happy. He just sounds like a syphilitic king. He can't help it.
And I listened to a broadcast, and I read a couple of articles. They have the Democrats, they should have voted for it. They didn't vote for tax cuts. They didn't vote for taking care of people. They didn't
vote for Medicaid cuts. They didn't vote for gutting rural hospitals. They didn't vote for kicking 17 million people off of their insurance. It's weird. You could have stripped that shit out. And it really wouldn't, the debt's going up anyways.
Vote, not one vote. And we knew that because...
They also, maybe, you know what? I'm assuming, you know what? This is wrong of me. I was assuming a lot of the Democrats didn't vote for this thing because of the cuts on Medicaid stuff. Maybe they just didn't like that it adds $3 trillion to the debt and raises the debt ceiling $5 trillion over the course of 2 years, which will obviously compound the debt as we go forward. So maybe they were, for all you know, every single Democrat voted against it because they're the true fiscal conservatives in this situation. Prove me wrong.
Their hatred of either the country or me or both is so great. They didn't vote at all, and it's terrible.
Well, you know what it really is? It's that we hate Jeffrey Epstein, and you were best friends with him for a long time. So, that'd be the thing. Hold on one second. Let's go to this. Dink. Okay, let's try that. Will that work? All right.
I just have to say,
No, you don't.
they have a routine. It's terrible, they say. Terrible, terrible.
Yeah, it is. Why do they say it's terrible? What's their concern?
You saw that guy standing up for hours yesterday. He didn't know what he was even doing there. I say, when's he sitting down? He had a towel. He's wiping his face. That's not too elegant. But what is he? I said, what is he doing for so long? And
It's called speaking English. It's a skill other people have mastered over time. I mean, there's not much hope for you, but
he couldn't criticize the bill. He was criticizing everyone else and everything else. So they've developed, and this is according to the news media, they've developed a standard line, and we can't let them get away with it. Oh, it's dangerous. Oh, everybody's going to die. It's actually just the opposite. Everybody's going to live. This is just...
That's it. This bill, the big, beautiful bill, outlaws death. Everybody's going to live. The opposite. Everybody's going to get well, and anybody who loses their insurance is just going to get the magical cure juice from, like celery juice and patchouli from RFK Jr. And yeah, it's just the opposite. Everybody's going to live.
The opposite. And I just want you to know...
How do people who get kicked off of Medicaid, who see their Medicare benefits go down, how do people on the edge of just staying above water with their Social Security and their fixed income that require Medicare, how does this guarantee they're going to live?
If you see anything negative put out by Democrats, it's all a con job. And they said, and they compared it...
Well, I guess time will tell, won't it?
...to just like the con job of Russia, and all of the other things they did. The 51 intelligence agents said...
You're not going to bring up the Epstein files? You should bring them up. Because there's a lot of, what did you say on Fox? There's a lot of phony stuff in there. There's a lot of phony stuff.
And the laptop from hell.
What laptop?
It came from Russia, they said. No, it didn't come. A lot of things come from Russia. That didn't come from Russia.
You really want to say that with your third wife standing that close to you? Of Eastern European descent. That you had sex with her allegedly for the very first time on Epstein's plane.
And it was all proven out to be a fake job, and that's what they're doing with this. So we just have to look forward, fellas, look forward and just say what it is, because it's the most popular bill ever signed in the...
No, it's not. This is, honest to God, this is just lying for lying's sake.
History of our country, whether you're military or anybody else.
The military people are in front of him, so he's trying to drag them into it.
This is the most popular bill.
Nope.
Ever.
If it was the single most popular bill ever, A, it would be bipartisan, you nitwit. Secondly, you wouldn't lose any of your own senators or House members. What the shit?
Signed.
Go check the voter rolls on the Infrastructure Act, you dumbass.
And it includes the largest tax cut in American history.
Right, for corporations, because they get a huge tax cut, while the burden on the poor goes up.
Largest spending cut,
Yes, big tax cut for rich people, but a lot of support and benefits for poor people go away.
$7 trillion.
Where do they come from? $7 trillion? Where do those cuts come from?
And yet you won't even notice it. Just waste, fraud, and abuse.
Huh. You get $7 trillion cut from this. You're going to save $7 trillion. We're just pulling that out of your ass. Okay.
In American history. So you have the biggest tax cut, the biggest spending cut, the largest border security investment in American history. We want to have strong borders. And the only thing is, we want to have great elections, too. You need strong borders and elections. And my people have promised me that we're going to go into elections, and we're going to make sure they're not rigged, that they're not sullied.
So you want to lose fair and square again. Cool.
To make sure that the elections are going to be fair, you need two things. You need strong borders, and you need fair elections. And we're going to make sure on the elections also. And our armed forces are one of the most vital military modernizations of all time. It will take place. So we rebuilt our military in our first term, and now we're going to modernize and remodernize our military.
Both? It's going to be futuristic.
Including building a great golden dome all over our land, so that if the get nasty with us, it's going to be knocked down. It's going to make any of the golden domes, they call them the iron domes, we're calling ours the golden dome, because we did the iron domes, and we do sort of everything, if you want to know the truth. But
Jesus Christ.
this blows it away.
It does. It'll blow away. Well, I mean, it won't actually. I mean, it's just a standard missile defense, I think, at this point. It's nothing. I mean, all it is a giant expenditure with very little chance of being used.
We're going to keep you safe. I want to thank you.
Great. Okay, cool. Again, I don't want to hear anything about debt ever again from Republicans.
Every member of the House and Senate who worked to get this bill on my desk, and many of them are here, and I'm not going to mention all their names because we'll be standing here, but I have to mention a few, and especially I want
But only the really white-sounding ones, because their names are easy to say.
to thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's been fantastic.
Yes, he had to cast the tie-breaking vote on the big mandate, the most popular bill in the world. When they have control of the Senate, they needed him to cast a tie-breaking vote.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's been incredible. We have somebody that it was a passion. I think he actually loved it. It wasn't easy, but he loved it. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who's right here. Speaker, thank you very much.
Yeah, he's very popular amongst the Ron Paul libertarian, maggot-adjacent crowd right now.
What a job, and he worked.
He forced all the Freedom Caucasians to vote for the Senate bill, which still had a bunch of green new scam legislation in
so
it.
closely with the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, who's a fantastic guy.
Yeah, that won't win him any friends either.
And those two are a team that is not going to be beat. When you look at them and you look at their counterparts on the other side, it's not even close. I want to thank both of you people for doing an incredible job. Thank you very much, John and Mike. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, a brave man. Steve, he suffered a tragedy.
Right. So Steve Scalise, they use him as a human shield all the time because he was shot by, I think, a Bernie Sanders supporter who opened fire on the congressional softball or baseball game, and he was wounded very badly in that. And he gained position. Again, this has nothing. This is no slight on his capability as a legislator. I have no idea where he charts compared to other people, and neither do they, because what they did was put him out front because he's always a reminder that some leftist shot at Republicans, and they can always use that as as sort of a referential shield against any criticism. So, for all you, political violence is the way to go, folks. Congratulations. You give them yet another win.
A number of years ago, I was at his hospital bedside that night with Melania, with our First Lady, and he had no chance. The doctor said he has very little chance, and you look better today than you did then. You didn't.
Yeah, most people look better if they're alive, currently, whatever situation they're in, than they did in their hospital bed when they did not believe they were going to survive.
Particularly good that night, I will say.
Jesus Christ.
But I learned one thing. His beautiful wife loved him. She was a disaster, right? I told him, I said, Steve, I can only tell you one thing. I was with your family and I was with your wife, and your wife was devastated. She loves you. I've seen a lot of wives that, they don't seem to be so concerned in those situations.
Right. Well, that's what he thinks every time he looks at Melania.
That's the kind of wife you don't want. But you have a great, beautiful wife who was really there, and you really have done. You're a very brave guy.
It's such a weird thing to bring up. Jesus.
And Mike and John and everybody that's standing with you knows it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. House Majority Whip, this is a guy who's great. When I have a problem, I call him up, and he gets it done. He's a tough cookie. I don't know why he's not the governor of Minnesota. He comes from Minnesota. He's like, oh, look, he goes, no, I don't want to run for governor. Come to think of it, I think that's a good idea. You would win so easily. The guy is terrible. You would win. You just have to take a look at that handsome face of yours, and you'd win. Tom Emmer, everybody. He did a great job.
Yeah, capability has nothing to do with it. It's all central casting with Trump.
I think you should consider that, although we don't want to lose him, do we? We don't want to. Let's say where you.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Is like he started fucking up their count in the House and the Senate by bringing people into his cabinet. Now he's suggesting they run for governor, and everybody's like, "Shut the fuck up."
I think say we are. What a job you did. And Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso, who's incredible. Senate Finance Chairman Mike Crapo. Thank you, Mike. What a job. What a job. He knows that tax stuff. Him and Jason, they really know their stuff. Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. What a good man he is. I see a poll. He's running, and I see a poll. He's 24 points up. That's not bad, Lindsey. That's not bad. 24 points up in the great state of South Carolina. House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith. What a job. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. These people are great. These are great patriots. I have to call them out.
You have to.
Budget Committee Chairman.
Because you have nothing else to say.
Jody Arrington. Jody, thank you very much. Jody has been good right from the beginning, and so many others, and they're all here, and they fully understand. They'll never speak to me again, but that's okay. It is what it is. But I just want to thank everybody. A lot of senators here, a lot of
Crystal, thank
congressmen
you.
and women here. Lisa, thank you very much, by the way. I have to thank you. Thank you very much. You've been fantastic. So this bill will fuel massive economic growth and lift up the hardworking citizens who make this country run. The factory workers,
He means rich people like his friends.
farmers, mechanics, waiters, waitresses, police officers, firefighters, coal miners. Coal is back. Beautiful. I said you can't use the word coal unless you precede it by saying clean, beautiful coal. China's right now building 68 coal generating plants, and we're putting up.
Sorry, they now have plants that make coal. Coal generating plants. That's amazing. What do? Pour diamonds in them and cool them and ease the pressure on them so they turn back into coal?
Wind. It doesn't work, I will tell you. Aside from ruining our fields and our valleys and killing all the birds and having
Jesus, get over yourself.
being very weak and very expensive, all made in China. I noticed something that with all
Oh God.
of the windmills that China sends us, where we waste our money because it's the most expensive energy, I see that they make about 95% of them, the wind turbines. I have never seen a wind farm in China.
Yeah, that's because they don't actually give a fuck about the environment. Hence all the coal plants, dipshit. They don't care if their people choke to death. That's the point. The nature of their government and the nature of the country right now is that their people are expendable, and if a bunch of them die for the furtherance of the country and industry, that's how it has to be. They're okay with that, dummy.
Why is that?
Because they don't. If you get black lung over there, they just watch you die.
Check that out. Tom Emmer, would you please check that out? But all the coal miners we love and the truck drivers, in this act, we have officially made the Trump tax cuts permanent. That's the largest tax cut in the history of our country, added to substantial other cuts, which is you're going to see like a rocket ship. We're setting all sorts of economic records right now, and that's before this kicks in. After this
Yeah, like the one about the dollar having its worst month since 1976.
kicks in, our country is going to be a rocket ship economically.
Yeah, one of Elon's.
And we've delivered no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for.
No tax on tips up to $25,000, and then after that, regular taxing. And if you split those tips, there's, I don't know how they list it on your taxes, but it's very possible that you could only take home a quarter of those tips and still have it counted against your $25K.
Great seniors. And that's why when you hear things like that, this is the most it's the biggest bill of its kind ever.
You said that part already, and it's still not true.
Done by far. But we are going to have a situation, we are going to have something where people are going to realize the level of success and popularity of this bill. And sort of to close it out, it makes
sort of to close it out. Wrap it up, dummy.
The child tax credit permanent for 40 million American families, and to increase the car.
Yes, you had to come around to the Democratic way of thinking You're welcome.
Affordability, it makes interest on a new car payment. So this had never happened before. You buy a car, you borrow money, you're allowed to deduct for income tax purposes your payment of interest. You're allowed to deduct it. It's never happened before. So run out and buy a car. But I have to tell you, it's only good, Mike, if it's made in America. If it's made in another country, you don't get it.
There's literally no way to enforce that.
And to protect 2 million.
Because there's literally no standard on how much of the car has to be built here, or whether it's assembled here, or whether it's a model that's made here. Because let's say they make F-150s, you know, or they make like a Toyota Highlander or something in a Tennessee plant or in an Indiana plant, but the one you're buying wasn't made here because, I don't know, that one was shipped in versus the ones that were made.
Family farms and other small businesses, we're eliminating the estate tax or the death tax. So if you want to leave your farm or your small business, but the farms are really, they have been devastated, to your children, if you love your children. By the way, if you don't love your children, don't even listen to what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. But if you love, would you live? Yes, I think you love your child. This one loves Barron. So
this one does. This one.
I don't know if we're a small business. I think we're not. I'm not sure that we qualify. I'm sorry, darling. But you know, it was.
By the time you're done, you will.
Devastating farmers. They had to go out and borrow money. And by the way, is that Pam Bondi? Pam Bondi, raise your hand. Thank you, Pam, for being here.
Yeah, instead of being in your office, apparently sifting through the Epstein files.
Attorney General, she's done an incredible job.
Hiding the Epstein files.
So there won't be any, think of this.
I'm thinking of it. All right, there won't be any.
There won't be any death tax. You're not going to have.
No death tax. Thank you. Well, it won't even matter because everybody's going to live. So we'll never even be able to know because nobody's going to die.
You go borrow money, your parents pass away, and the farm goes into the bank's hands and gets foreclosed. That's not going to happen. And with 100% expensing for new investments, we're cutting tax.
100% expensing for new investments. 100%. Yeah.
Taxes for every manufacturer.
Yeah. No corporation in this country is going to pay a lick of taxes. Because if you, again, all you've got to do, whatever your tax rate is, 25%, what's your manageable tax rate, whatever that is, do 25%, of R&D, check that off as your capital investment, and then you don't pay taxes. You just put it back into your company instead.
Manufacturer who builds expands, and we have expansion at the highest level that we've ever had it. We have hundreds of factories, including car plants and AI. It's coming in.
Yes, nothing. Yeah, it's all those individuals, those blue-collar workers that are going to be working in AI plants.
To our country at levels that we've never seen. And
yes, apparently there was nowhere near this kind of business of AI, generation in the 90s or the 50s.
To conclude, not only will we have the strongest economy on earth, we're also going to have the strongest borders on earth. And last month, did you see the number? 0 people crossed our border.
Yeah, that's impossible. So you're just blowing off whatever number it is. You're just going to assume 0 and that'll be that. There's just no way that not a single person crossed. You just didn't catch them. That's just absurd. And again, maybe the number is really small, but we're not going to trust the number. Get the fuck out of here. Also, you stopped everybody. Let's say it's true. No people cross the southern border. Fentanyl is still the same price and still the same availability. What does that tell you?
0 illegal people. And that's after Joe Biden let 21 million people, many of them people.
Murderers and drug dealers and people from insane asylums and stuff. Where are they?
From gangs and prisons and drug lords and people that.
Is everybody a drug lord? Like how many? What's the upper hierarchical business management structure of a cartel these days? Is everybody a drug lord? Jesus Christ. Is this like porn star now? We're just being in porn. You can call yourself a porn star. I mean, it cheapens the whole thing. Everybody's a drug lord. And you get to be a drug lord, and you're a drug lord, and you're a drug lord.
Mentally unbalanced.
Now, I'll walk a flight of stairs.
They let them into our country. We're getting them out at record numbers. And
No, you're not. You're actually getting them. People are being deported at a lower number than Biden did.
we have an obligation to,
Well, sure. If there's 21 million of them, where the fuck are they?
and we're doing it so
You're not. I don't know why you're not. I mean, it should be easy. That many of them. Holy shit!
as we approach.
It's not like they're evenly dispersed, like one per block across the entire country. I mean, they obviously are gathered in the high population areas, and when they're not, they should be easy to spot.
The 250th anniversary of America's founding exactly 1 year from now. We are creating an economy that delivers wealth for the middle class, a border that is sovereign and secure, and a military that is unmatched, unequaled anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it has been for like forever. Like believe me, we didn't lose Vietnam because we couldn't win Vietnam. It was just the choice between like killing everybody to win wasn't worth it. It wasn't that we lacked the bombs to do it. We've always been big enough to do this shit, but we've also balanced that against what the public thinks is necessary in terms of death.
You saw that, and what a beautiful sight that was, especially after watching what they did just a short while ago. The golden age of America is
I think he means the bombers.
upon us. We are in the golden age. It's going to be a period of time, the
Shouldn't this be the platinum age? Do we already have a golden age?
likes of which I don't think this country has ever experienced before. We're going to make America great again, and it's happening very fast. We love you. We thank you for being here. Enjoy the fireworks tonight. And First Lady, I want to thank you. You have been unbelievable. You think it's easy being First Lady? It's not.
No, we all know whatever she does. I mean, she's not a nice person. She's a birther, so we don't give a shit or whatever. But believe me, it's hell. We know. And it isn't the part where she's First Lady of the nation that's hard. It's the married to him part.
Thank you all very much. Happy 4th of July. God bless you all. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to sign the bill now.
Oh, here we come. Is he going down? No, is he going downstairs or is he leaving out the other side? Oh yeah, here he comes. I think. Oh dear. Mommy, can we go back now? Oh, she's helping. She's not looking at the steps. She's not worried about it at all. She's looking at his steps. Look at that right hand dangle. The brighter than the that part of the hand brighter than the rest. I think they're covering the bruise again. Okay, then hold on. It's the business, and they sit down. Oh my God. What a fucking toddler. You did it. You get, if I sign it, can I play with the hammer? Yes. Yes, you can. Pathetic. Womp womp. And hand out pens. You get a pen, hang out a pen to everybody. Keep that. The ink is fresh. Hand that to the lady in the white to have her put it in a pocket. It won't leak, I promise. There's one for you, and yeah, they got my name on them. You can have one, and you can have one, and you can have one, and normally this is where they would play. I guess what's the song he normally plays? There you go.
And thongs and vested thongs. Whoa, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, oh.
Kennedy's shaking hands with Lindsey Graham.
Whoa, I love that feeling. Zipper hoods have got the goods. Owie, owie, oh. Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Yay! Boink, boink, doobie-doo. You know what I wanna do. Bust up.
Guess who got to DJ this? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't argue with that. Wouldn't know what to say. And which thumb goes up whose ass? I forget. I don't know. Their thumb goes up everybody's. That's the sign. Everybody stick out the appendage Trump asks for in his ass the most often. Right. So that's that. And chat room, appreciate you being here.